Hello, my name's John. These are some Astra Militarum Psykers. This is a crossover video, and you're watching Wargames, models, and other hobbies. Hello and welcome back to another video. Today is a crossover video. I am going to blend two different fictional universes together that I really enjoy. One of them being the Warhammer 40,000 universe, and the other one, let's keep it a mystery to begin with until we get to a point where it kind of reveals itself. So I'm only going to be using one of these models for now, but let's open up this blister pack and select the model that I want. These are the old style metal miniatures. Really like these ones as well. So we have, slightly bent on the top there, there is the one holding a las pistol, the Psyker with a las pistol. There is the one with the kind of the metallic strip across their eyes. And then we have the worried looking one. Let's get that into focus, there we go. Let's zoom in. This is actually the one that I want to use, is this worried looking one. So, there's a few things that I want to do with this. I want to clean it up. As you can see, there's a few little bits of metal, oops, sorry, off screen there, a few little bits of metal, sprue and moulding items on here. I want to change its staff, need to do a little bit of sculpting on this one, but let's get started by trimming off some of these little details. Okay, there we go. There is all of the little bits of metal trimmed off from the casting process. And now I've done that, I'm going to give a little bit of a reveal into what I am crossing over with. Here I have my little conversion. Let's zoom out ever so slightly. The Death of Rats. Yes, I am going to be doing a crossover with Discworld. So for the next few videos this month, we are going to be doing Dischammer. So today, this Psyker is going to become not a wizard, it'll still remain a Psyker, and the name is going to be slightly different, but this is going to be Winsrind, the sanctioned Psyker. So, let's get started with getting rid of a few items off this model before I start doing some sculpting. So, one thing that is going to go is going to be the top of his staff, and I need to trim this before I start doing any sculpting, because I'm going to want to have a hat, he's going to have a beard, and then a wizard staff, a Psyker's staff, has to have a certain detail to it, which we'll add at the end. So I'm just going to have a look at the best way of trimming this. It is going to be just a quick trim like that. So we've now taken the Inquisitorial, the Psyker staff, whatever it is, I can't, yeah, it's this psychic kind of emblem there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I'm going to mix up some green stuff. Now, all of this conversion, apart from a little bit on the staff, is going to be green stuff and sculpting. I'm not going to mix everything up in one go, because to be honest, I'm not sure how much green stuff that I want to use. But let's start mixing it up. Now, these videos are going to run for the whole of August. So I've got the idea for 4 conversions, which are going to be the first videos this month. Then there will be 4 painting videos of those conversions. And then after that, there will be a roundup of the whole month. So this is a crossover month. Everything is going to be Dischammer, and we're going to make some really nice little models. Well, hopefully so. So the first thing that I want to do on this character is give them a beard. It's quite a warm day today, so I don't know how it's going to adjust the time it takes for the green stuff to go off, or whether it's going to keep it a lot stickier, but we shall see. Okay, there we have first part of the beard there. Now I've got the collar just here, so I don't need to sculpt beyond that, but I'm going to bring a little bit of it up the side just there. I've always enjoyed Discworld. I'm currently rereading all of the books, starting at the beginning, and it's been quite a long time since I've done that. I'm really enjoying it as well. And I had the idea that it might be quite nice to do a series of crossover videos and do some conversions inspired by the writings of the late great Terry Pratchett. Right, let's see if I can give Winsrind a little bit of a moustache. See how this goes. Now I don't know how this is going to go. Worst case scenario, I can pull it off and start it again. Might have to use my... oh no, that's come off. It is really quite warm today. Let's try that with... I'm going to get a fresh scalpel blade. More than I need. I'm going to push that in place. Oh, sorry if that's out of focus. This is quite tiny, so I'm not sure how well it's coming across on camera. Okay, let's have... Okay, I'm kind of happy with that facial hair. Now, the next thing I want to do, he needs a hat. Every not a wizard, it's a psyker, needs a hat. So I'm going to work out the best size for this hat. Now, the Discworld character, Rincewind, has wizard in letters sewn on to their hat. Now Winsrind isn't a wizard, he's a psyker, so I'm going to have to work out how to do this, but he's going to have psyker on his hat. Now I'm either going to paint this on or sculpt it on somehow at a later date, because I need to wait for the hat to kind of cure because it's going to be really bendy, because I haven't used any armature or anything like that in it. Okay. So, haven't thought how these are going to play. It's just some nice conversions. So if you've got any ideas on how any of the characters I make this month could be played, please drop it in the comments. If there's any future crossover videos that you'd like to see, again, drop that in the comments as well. Some wrinkles in there and the hat goes down. Okay, there is the hat so far. I'm quite happy with that so far. I think I'm going to have to wait a little while for that green stuff to cure a little bit more before I do anything else. A wizard's staff has a knob on the end. And in this conversion, Windsrind, a Psyker, their staff is going to have a knob on the end, an orc skull. As just a little bit of a play on words. So I'm going to go with one of the little open mouth orc skulls, because in this disc hammer world, every wizard's staff has a knob on the end. Right, so I'm going to need to get something just to stick that onto to make it a little bit taller. Okay, nice and quick. 2 little bits of plastic. Let's go for the longer one for this one. So let's just trim that. And that is going to have... that's going to work really well. Let's get some of my Tamiya glue. There we go. Let's put a little bit of glue in there. And what I will do at the end of the video, as I do with a lot of my videos, I will put a little gallery so you can see Windsrind. Okay, let's now trim the plastic, so I now have that staff just there, and let's go with a little bit of liquidy super glue rather than the thick stuff. Okay, what I'm going to do now I've got the staff sorted is I'm just going to have a bit of a play with the brim of the hat. So it is a threadbare, weather-worn hat. There we go. I'm going to call that. Okay, so there we have the first Discworld Warhammer 40,000 crossover of this month. This is Windsrind, not a wizard, a Psyker. And every Psyker's staff has a knob skull on the end. And there we go. Like I said, I'll put some images at the end of the video in a little gallery so you can have a look at what this looks like. Stay tuned for the next video where I do the next conversion. But for now, all I can say is thank you so much for tuning in to this first Disc Hammer video. My name's John, and you've been watching War Games, Models and Other Hobbies.